Yeah, come on in. Percy, come here. Come here. Okay, good boy. Are you afraid? Are you afraid of people? Sometimes she is. And you guys, hello. So, I am Susan, almost ready to be 70 years old, and I've lived here in Genech for close to 20 years. This is my home, my permanent and only home. I love the island, and I especially love Genech, and I especially love my own house, which I guess is a pretty lucky thing. It's an old adega. There was a house on the property years ago, but it fell, and I should start by saying that I first came here with my husband. We were looking for a quiet place to live. He'd been sick for a number of years, and we wanted a simple, easy life. Just kind of relax and enjoy things. We didn't really have anything. There was a toilet and a sink, no power, no nothing. Actually, the first few years were not relaxing because we had to make all of this from nothing, but they really were enjoyable. But now I do other things. I've been a widow for 10 years. I have a different life. I do things with theater workshops. I do sewing. I do lots of patchwork. What else do I do? I'm a very much amateur historian, working right now on a project about World War I and the Americans. But mostly it's sewing I like. Get inspired and make things. Table runners, seat covers. There's things on the walls, pillows, cushions for the dogs, things to cover the couch because the dogs have ripped holes in everything. It's just that I'm always busy making something. And this is my workroom, which I think has one of the most beautiful views in the whole world, where I can see the ocean and what's going on out there. I can even see the two churches there, but it's just so beautiful and green. And what I particularly love about this house is that many foreigners pick a very isolated spot. They live in the middle of a big field or closed in. I have neighbors. I talk to my neighbors. I hang out with my neighbors. I've received 2 plaques from the city talking about how I am integrated into the community here, which is very rare for most of the foreigners. But I want to show you some of the work. The best part about the whole thing is the arranging and placing and deciding. Okay, I kind of like that square. Maybe I could put a row, a frame. Okay, I like that. What colors would be nice? What shapes would be nice? Nope, I don't want that one with it. That's not exactly what I want either. But what if this were in the center? Ah, look at that. So I cut it all up, sew it all up together, and I have something really nice, really pretty, I think. And it's not hard work, and it's really fun. This has got to be one of the most beautiful places on this island. I call it fairyland. because you can almost imagine a little bit of magic happening here. It's always with bright sun and above us, and yet we're in the shade, and you can hear the birds, and you can see the rocks, and you can just imagine how the earth once actually moved. It's the quietest place I know. On a really hot day, it's really nice to come out here into this little private wet spot and enjoy the change in the temperature and the weather. In the old days, women from the village would come and wash their clothes here. Now this space is used mostly for farmers who come to get water for their cows. There's also an old legend, a little old lady and her husband who lived here. She needed some sort of medicine, and he rode into the city on a horse. He was halfway back when he remembered he had not gotten the water. So he stopped, and he just got some plain water and brought it to her. She took this false medicine and was cured. So it's a nice little story of love. Don't you just love it? This is, besides my house, my favorite spot in Greenwich. We're in the middle of what is now a construction site. It used to be one of the most lovely old buildings on this island. Not just a building, but a whole kind of little village in itself. There was the mansion house. There was a lovely little tank for geese and ducks. The fountain, an old stone building that had cannons in it. And I found this here in Greenwich on the first day I woke up in my new home. What it looked like was if a family had been living there one moment and then went back to the city. What I didn't know is that it had been vacant for a number of years. And finally it's being turned into a tourist hotel area. If I were a tourist here, I'd want to stay here. But I hate that they've done this. This place does have an interesting heritage. For the last number of years has had a little plaque on the side of the building that says this is where the first flag representing the autonomous region of the Azores was hoisted. It was full of rebels, and I just like to think of all of them working together and managing it. The owners of this house were the original owners of the land that went from the ocean here all the way up to the Camerish. And when I was inside here, let's say 16 years ago, you could still see on a map the land that they owned. And I know many people in this area do not own their property, but it's owned by the original family that has this. So to me, it's a very sad thing to just let your patrimony slip by. I hope you get to see around what this is going to look like, because it will be beautiful, but at a cost. I have a friend who is a history professor, professional historian. We want to make a walking tour app for tourists to see Ponta Delgada and know what they're seeing in historical context. So we'd like to arrange for small tiles that say, you know, the so-and-so lived here, and this place was the battle of whatever it is. Many Azorians and Americans know nothing about the military base that was here 100 years ago. They don't even realize that there was an actual bombing of Ponta Delgada. So I've been studying the records of the hospital base, reading what diseases did people come in with, what were the illnesses, what were the injuries, How long did they stay? What did they do? Then just studying the lives of the people, either what brought them at the moment to Ponta Delgada, or what their lives were like and how they ended up here, and then where they went after they died.
Viva la
What I came for, I think, to this island was for nature. But instead, what I found was an island full of culture. I thought I had been to my last art gallery opening. And instead I found there's lots of that here. There's lots of music, there's lots of poetry, there's lots of art, there's lots of theater. It's nice to just see where your life takes you, see who's going to send a message, call you on the phone and say, do you have time for listening to this idea? Or what do you think about such and such? Well, that's even why I'm here today, because a friend called and said, I have a project, you might be interested.